Hi there everyone, my name is Catherine Moss. I'm Head of English at JCG and I'm pleased to be talking you through the English Literature A-level course and making a great choice. So first of all, why might you choose English Literature? Well, it might be that you're an avid reader and you have really enjoyed reading widely throughout school, or it might just be that you have studied a couple of texts since starting that you have really kind of enjoyed and that you have really kind of taken to. English is a really wide-ranging subject that covers a real breadth of skill. And it may be that you decide to take the A-level to increase your communication skills, to get involved in some really interesting and challenging debates, just to kind of broaden your understanding of the world that we live in, and literature is a great way to do that. To learn to present your views in a convincing way, and also it is an excellent facilitating subject taking you into the future. So English is a subject that is widely recognised by universities. It covers a really broad range of what we call transferable skills, so skills that can take you into all kinds of future opportunities. And some careers that stem from English include publishing and broadcasting and marketing, journalism, law, teaching, politics, but it is a really kind of broad subject that can take you in all kinds of different directions. One of the things that I really love about teaching the course is the fact that we touch on a lot of contemporary issues. So the first unit that we study is called Modern Times, and we explore all kinds of issues that are relevant today. So we look at issues such as gender stereotyping, oppression, power struggles within society, revolution, social change, cultural conflict, and a lot of the kind of discussions that we have in class link into contemporary issues that are playing out in the media and playing out in the world around us. So for the Modern Times unit, we study three main texts, which you may already be familiar with. The Handmaid's Tale certainly has taken on a little bit of a revival in recent years, and it's certainly really pertinent in terms of some of the issues that it explores in terms of feminism. And it kind of poses the question, you know, what would happen if women's rights were taken away from them? What if women didn't have control over their bodies anymore? And Atwood kind of creates this really dystopian setting in the novel, which allows us to kind of engage with some really kind of horrifying and terrifying concepts. From there, we kind of go on to study Churchill's Top Girls, which is quite a kind of bizarre play in some senses. It's based on some extreme concepts. The idea that Churchill brings together lots of women from different periods of history and places them around the dinner table and gets them to talk about their experiences. So that kind of throws us into the middle of the action in the play, but it's also a play that kind of raises issues about modern lives, about women in work, and again about class struggles as well. So it covers lots and lots of different issues. Going on from that, we also study a collection of poetry by Carol Ann Duffy, and she again kind of blends together elements of fantasy with elements of the real world, and again explores issues that connect to materialism, body image, as well as kind of exploring as well women in history and how female voices have been overlooked over time. So there are three very different texts, but texts that are very interconnected in terms of their themes and in terms of their ideas. So generally we tend to study the Modern Times unit in the first year of the course. And then in the second year, we start to move into an area called Love Through the Ages. So we look at love as a theme specifically, and we kind of track it through time, and we look at all kinds of different texts stemming from the medieval period right through to the modern day. and how relationships might be represented, but also how social attitudes may have changed towards those relationships. So the three sort of set texts for this particular unit are Othello. So we look at Jacobean tragedy, and we look at jealousy specifically, and the kind of breakdown of the relationship between the central characters. We look at a novel called The Awakening, which was written at the turn of the century and is really quite kind of radical for its time in terms of representing perhaps more progressive and perhaps controversial views about relationships. And then we study an anthology of poetry, which takes us right back to some very early kind of attitudes to women and attitudes to relationships and love and sex and so on. So we explore all of these texts again together, but this particular unit allows us to think about how perhaps things have changed over time, and also things that have kind of remained the same in terms of our relationship. Another aspect of the course that you might be interested in is the independent critical study. So towards the end of year 12, we study a collection called The Bloody Chamber, which features, it's based on a series of kind of fairy tales, but what Angela Carter does is she reworks those fairy tales. She brings out some of their kind of more dark and gruesome elements, but she also kind of rewrites them for the 20th century and kind of embeds in them different modern attitudes towards women. And some of these stories are very kind of striking and unexpected, and also quite gothic. So we take The Bloody Chamber, the text, which we study together, and then you make a decision as a student about which text you would like to explore to kind of take that study further. So we recommend a selection of different texts. There's quite a bit of choice. This year we have had students who have worked on Macbeth, Frankenstein, vampire fiction. You can also kind of read Gothic poetry as well. There is a huge range of texts that you can potentially use in response to this particular element. And this is a piece of coursework that you write, which is around 2,500 words. And it kind of really enables you to explore in quite a bit of depth an area that's particularly interesting to you, and an area that you might create your own question for. So we have a series of student views, past and present, connected to the subject. There's all kinds of different reasons why you might wish to engage with the subject, as I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation. But if you would like to find out more about English literature and the course from the student's point of view, we have arranged tomorrow for some students to be available in the library to answer any questions, and your teachers will be asking you if you would like to come along to the session tomorrow in the library at 12:45, where you can hear more from the students and ask them any particular questions that you might have. Do I have any questions this evening that I can answer for you? I believe that you are able to enter some questions into the chat, and I will try and answer those if there are any questions right now. Okay, I don't appear to have any questions. So if you do have some questions about English literature, save those up for tomorrow, and we will see you at 12:45 in the library, and we can hopefully answer some of those for you. Thank you very much for listening.